will be in receipt of a motion from the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Scott.
Madam Chair, I move the committee grant H.R. 3838, the streamlining procurement for effective execution and delivery and National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2026 a structured rule. The rule waives all points of order against consideration of the bill. The rule provides 1 hour of general debate equally divided and controlled by the chair and ranking minority member of the Committee on Armed Services of their respective designee. The rule provides that in lieu of the amendment in the nature of substitute recommended by the Committee on Armed Services now printed in the bill, an amendment in the nature of substitute consistent of the text of Rules Committee Print 119-8 shall be considered as adopted, and the bill as amended shall be considered as read. The rule waives all points of order against provisions in the bill as amended. The rule makes in order only those further amendments printed in Part A of the Rules Committee report and amendments in block described in Section 3 of the rule. Each further amendment shall be considered only in the order printed in the report, may be offered only by a member designated in the report, shall be considered as read, shall be debatable for the time specified in the report, equally divided and controlled by the proponent and opponent, shall not be subject to amendment, and shall not be subject to a demand for a division of the question. The rule waives all points of order against further amendments printed in Part A of the Rules Committee report, an amendment in block described in Section 3 of the rule. The rule provides that the chair on the Committee on the Armed Services or his designee may offer amendments in block consisting of further amendments printed in Part A of the Rules Committee report not earlier disposed of. Amendments in block shall be considered as read, shall be debatable for 40 minutes equally divided and controlled by the chair and ranking minority member of the Committee on Armed Services of their respective designees, shall not be subject to amendment, and shall not be subject to a demand for a division of the question. The rule provides one motion to recommit. The rule further provides for consideration of H.R. 3486, the Stop Illegal Entry Act of 2025 under a closed rule. The rule waives all points of order against consideration of the bill. The rule provides that the amendment in the nature of substitute recommended by the Committee on Judiciary now printed in the bill, modified by the amendment printed in Part B of the Rules Committee report, shall be considered as adopted, and the bill as amended shall be considered as read. The rule waives all points of order against provision of the bill as amended. The rule provides 1 hour of general debate equally divided and controlled by the chair and ranking minority member of the Committee on Judiciary of the respective designees. Finally, the rule provides one motion to recommit.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. You've now heard the motion. Is there any discussion or amendment to the rule?
Yes,
Mr. McGovern.
Madam Chair, first I want to request unanimous consent to insert into the record testimony from Rep. Ansari, Rep. Foster, Rep. Tucano, Rep. Captor, and Rep. Garamendi.
Without objection.
I have an amendment to the rule. I move the committee make an order amendment number 485 to H.R. 3838 offered by myself, which authorizes appropriations for the World Food Program to address global food insecurity and starvation. Right now, more than 295 million people worldwide are facing acute food insecurity, and yet governments worldwide, including our own, have moved to cut foreign aid spending. Right now, the WFP is being forced to cut rations or suspend programs in some of the world's hungriest regions due to funding shortfalls. Hunger is not inevitable. It is a solvable problem, but only if we act. The appropriations authorized by this amendment are desperately needed. I urge my colleagues to vote yes on my motion, and I yield back.
Is there any further discussion on the amendment?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Scott.
I'm sympathetic to the cause on this, and the author and I have actually co-sponsored legislation on world hunger before, but this is not an appropriations bill.
Is there any further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, the question's on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. The amendment is not
I
agreed
ask for a
to.
roll call, Madam Chair.
Mr. McGovern asked for a roll call vote. The clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach? No. Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Norman? No. Mr. Norman, no. Mr. Roy? No. Mr. Roy, no. Mrs. Houchin? Mr. Langworthy? Mr. Scott? No. Mr. Scott, no. Mr. Griffith? Mr. Griffith, no. Mr. Jack? No. Mr. Jack, no. Mr. McGovern?
Aye.
Mr. McGovern, aye. Ms. Scanlon? Aye. Ms. Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse? Aye. Mr. Neguse, aye. Ms. Ledger-Fernandez? Aye. Ms. Ledger-Fernandez, aye. Madam Chair?
No.
Madam Chair, no.
The clerk will report the total.
3 yeas, 7 nays.
The noes have it. The amendment is not agreed to.
Madam Chair?
Mr. McGovern, you're recognized.
Again, just in response to the gentleman, this is an authorization bill, and this amendment is rule compliant. So it's not like it's not compliant. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, What is the tally?
4 yeas, 7 nays.
Thank you, that's correct.
I have another amendment to,
Yes, Mr. McGovern.
yeah, I just want to state for the record, too, this is the fewest amendments made in order for an NDAA since 2018, when fewer than half as many amendments were submitted. So I think we're kind of moving in a direction that is making it more difficult for people to have their views be heard. Being on this committee used to mean something, and I don't take this personally, but all of my amendments were blocked, and they were rule compliant. By the way, so was Mr. Roy's amendment, which I support on the AUMF. And so I have an amendment to the rule. I move the committee make an order amendment number 806 to H.R. 3838, offered by Representative Meeks and Mr. Roy, which would repeal the 2002 and 1991 authorizations for the use of military force. This is a bipartisan amendment. Again, Mr. Roy is on this committee, is on it to get rid of outdated authorizations for the use of military force related to Iraq. These AUMFs are obsolete and serve no purpose. Yet Democratic and Republican presidents alike have exploited and stretched them beyond recognition to avoid having to come to Congress for approval before launching military strikes or attacking foreign adversaries. It's past time that we come together and reassert Congress's role when it comes to war powers, and I urge a yes vote on the motion, and I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. McGovern. Is there further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, the question's on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. The amendment's not agreed
I ask
to.
for a roll call, ma'am.
Mr. McGovern requests a roll call. The clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach? No. Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Norman? Yes. Mr. Norman, aye. Mr. Roy? Aye. Mr. Roy, aye. Mrs. Houchin? Mr. Langworthy? Mr. Scott? No. Mr. Scott, no. Mr. Griffith? Mr. Griffith, aye. Mr. Jack? No. Mr. Jack, no. Mr. McGovern?
Aye.
Mr. McGovern, aye. Ms. Scanlon? Aye. Ms. Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse? Mr. Neguse, aye. Ms. Leisure Fernandez? Aye. Ms. Leisure Fernandez, aye. Madam Chair?
No.
Madam Chair, no.
The clerk will report the total.
7 yeas, 4 nays.
The amendment is agreed to.
Madam Chair, I have an amendment to the rule. I move the committee make an order amendment number 489 to H.R. 3838, offered by myself, which requires an annual report from the Secretary of State to Congress in consultation with the Secretary of Defense that assesses the status of Israeli settlement activity in the West Bank. Madam Chair, in August, Israel gave final approval to the E-1 settlements, a move widely condemned by the international community as a, quote, flagrant breach of international law, end quote, that may imperil the possibility of a two-state solution. But without timely information, Congress cannot quickly respond to the E-1 project and the thousands of other settlement expansion efforts across the West Bank. My amendment empowers Congress to stay informed and to take informed action, not just on E-1, but on all settlement developments that affect regional stability. I urge a yes vote on my motion, and I yield back.
Is there further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, the question's on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. No. In the opinion, Chair, the noes have it. Mr. McGovern
ask for a roll call.
requests a roll call vote. The clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach? No. Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Norman? No. Mr. Norman, no. Mr. Roy? No. Mr. Roy, no. Mrs. Houchin? Mr. Langworthy? Mr. Scott? No. Mr. Scott, no. Mr. Griffith? No. Mr. Griffith, no. Mr. Jack? No. Mr. Jack, no. Mr. McGovern?
Aye.
Mr. McGovern, aye. Ms. Scanlon? Aye. Ms. Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse? Mr. Neguse, aye. Ms. Leisure Fernandez? Aye. Ms. Leisure Fernandez, aye. Madam Chair?
No.
Madam Chair, no.
The clerk will report the total.
4 yeas, 7 nays.
The noes have it, the amendment's not agreed to. Mr. McGovern?
Sure, I have another amendment to the I move the committee make an order amendment number 492 to H.R. 3838 offered by myself, which restricts certain security assistance to Pakistan unless the Secretary of State, in consultation with the Secretary of Defense, certifies the government of Pakistan has taken measures to prevent human rights violations. Pakistan is a key strategic partner for the United States in South Asia. That said, we cannot continue to ignore concerns about human rights violations, including restrictions on media, civil society, religious minorities, and women's rights, not least because U.S. funds are being used to train Pakistani military officers. U.S. assistance should not be given unconditionally, and this amendment is intended to ensure that our taxpayer dollars are not being used to help foreign governments violate their citizens' rights. And with that, I urge a yes vote, and I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. McGovern. Is there any further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, the question's on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
No.
In the opinion, chair, the noes have it.
I ask for a roll call, Madam Chair.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach? Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Norman? Mr. Norman, no. Mr. Roy? Mr. Roy, no. Mrs. Houchin? Mr. Langworthy? Mr. Scott? Mr. Scott, no. Mr. Griffith? Mr. Griffith, no. Mr. Jack? Mr. Jack, no. Mr. McGovern?
Aye.
Mr. McGovern, aye. Ms. Scanlon? Ms. Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse? Mr. Neguse, aye. Ms. Ledger Fernandez? Ms. Ledger Fernandez, aye. Madam Chair?
No.
Madam Chair, no.
The clerk will report the total.
4 yeas, 7 nays.
The noes have it, the amendment is not agreed to.
Madam Chair, I have another amendment to the rule. I move the committee make an order amendment number 494 to H.R. 3838, offered again by myself, which prohibits the use of Department of Defense funds to transport individuals to countries in which they would be at risk of being subjected to torture. My amendment, Madam Chair, is simple. It simply reaffirms Section 241 of the Immigration and Nationality Act, which states that it is U.S. policy not to expel, extradite, or otherwise affect the involuntary return of any person to a country in which there are substantial grounds for believing the person would be in danger of being subjected to torture, end quote. This is a common-sense amendment that merely affirms the guardrails that already exist. I just want us all to be on the same page about where we stand on torture and on abiding by the law. And again, I would say to my colleagues, this amendment is fully rule compliant. It was submitted on time. And there are amendments that are being made in order that, quite frankly, are not rule compliant, that have been submitted late. And I think this should be made in order.
Thank you, Mr. McGovern. Is there any further discussion on the amendment?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Ledger Fernandez.
I urge adoption of this motion, and I think for a very simple reason, is we should all stand against torture and participating in any way in the possibility of subjecting any human being to torture. And it is consistent with the law as we now stand, and I thank Mr. McGovern for bringing the amendment against torture.
Thank you, Ms. Ledger Fernandez. Is there any further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, the question's on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it.
Ask for a roll call, Madam.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach? Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Norman? Mr. Norman, no. Mr. Roy? Mr. Roy, no. Mrs. Houchin? Mr. Langworthy? Mr. Langworthy, no. Mr. Scott? Mr. Scott, no. Mr. Griffith? Mr. Griffith, no. Mr. Jack? Mr. Jack, no. Mr. McGovern?
Aye.
Mr. McGovern, aye. Ms. Scanlon? Ms. Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse? Mr. Neguse, aye. Ms. Ledger Fernandez? Ms. Ledger Fernandez, aye. Madam Chair?
No.
Madam Chair, no.
The clerk will report the total.
4 yeas, 8 nays.
The noes have it, the amendment is not agreed to. Are there further amendments or discussion?
I have two more amendments, Madam Chair. I have an amendment to the rule. I move the committee make an order amendments number 29 and number 30 to H.R. 3838, offered by Representative Hayes, which would respectively exempt veterans from the new Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program work requirements in the Republicans' reconciliation bill, and expand eligibility for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program for certain disabled veterans, including those determined to be catastrophically disabled. Madam Chair, the big ugly bill that Republicans enacted a few months ago takes food away from veterans by once again subjecting veterans to a strict 3-month limit on SNAP if they are between jobs, can't find work, or can't meet onerous paperwork requirements. I can't think of anything more cruel than taking food away from veterans to fund massive tax breaks for billionaires. But that's exactly what Republicans did in their big ugly bill. My Republican colleagues have the opportunity to correct this. They can make an order amendments number 29 and 30 offered by Representative Hayes, the ranking member of the Nutrition Subcommittee, to exempt veterans from time limits in SNAP and to expand eligibility for SNAP for veterans. If you agree that veterans who served our country should never struggle wondering where their next meal is coming from, you should support this motion, and I yield back.
Is there further discussion on the amendment?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Scott?
just by definition in the law, if they're disabled, they're not subject to the work requirements.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Further discussion on the amendment? If not, hearing none, the question is on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. The amendments are not agreed to.
And I'll ask for a roll call on that.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach? No. Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Norman? No. Mr. Norman, no. Mr. Roy? No. Mr. Roy, no. Mrs. Houchin? Mr. Langworthy? No. Mr. Langworthy, no. Mr. Scott? No. Mr. Scott, no. Mr. Griffith? No. Mr. Griffith, no. Mr. Jack? No. Mr. Jack, no. Mr. McGovern?
Aye.
Mr. McGovern, aye. Ms. Scanlon? Aye. Ms. Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse? Aye. Mr. Neguse, aye. Ms. Ledger Fernandez? Aye. Ms. Ledger Fernandez, aye. And Madam Chair?
No.
Madam Chair, no.
Clerk will report the total.
4 yeas, 8 nays.
The noes have it. The amendment is not agreed to. Is there further discussion or amendments?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I have an amendment to the rule. I move the rule also provide that immediately upon adoption of the resolution, the House shall consider H.R. 4405, the bipartisan Epstein Files Transparency Act introduced by Representative Khanna and Massey under a closed rule with 1 hour of debate. Despite Republicans' best efforts, this issue isn't going away, and I commend the Oversight Committee for getting us files from the estate, and they can keep doing that if we pass this bill, but they are not getting anything significant from the administration because the administration is withholding the files. I can see why the administration might want to hide them. If the creepy birthday note from Trump to Epstein is any indication of what might be in those files. But if the administration won't follow through on their promises, Congress should force them to. This bipartisan bill does exactly that while protecting the victims and the survivors. And I hope that Republicans will see the light and sign Mr. Massey's discharge petition. But we don't have to wait for that to happen. We can bring this bill to the floor tomorrow, and I urge a yes vote on my motion, and I yield back.
Is there further discussion
Yes.
on the amendment? Ms.
Yes,
Scanlon?
I support Mr. McGovern's amendment. I think that as we see more and more information come out regarding what's in the Epstein files, what the White House is trying to hide, it is really important that we get to the bottom of it. This resolution would help do that. It would get us past the ridiculous stonewalling we're seeing from the White House, including denying that the president sent something that he clearly did. So I support this amendment, and I urge everyone to vote yes.
Further discussion on the amendment?
Madam Chair.
Ms. Ledger Fernandez.
You know, it's incredibly shameful that we are here again pleading with the Republicans on this committee to allow a vote on the Massey-Khanna bill to release the Epstein files. Trump is protecting the criminal activity of pedophiles and the people who participated in these heinous acts. The administration is protecting the rich and powerful monsters that were part of the Epstein sex circle. The American people wants to know what's in those files. And it's not a surprise to me that Trump is asking Republicans to ignore their own moral conscience and ignore the Massey-Khanna bill. Let's go over just what has come out recently regarding Trump's attack on women. You know, I'm going to just highlight a few because if I highlight everything, we'd never get to the rest of our work here. But, you know, just yesterday, a federal appeals court upheld an $83.3 million jury award against President Trump for defaming the writer Jean Carroll after he was found liable for sexually abusing her. Then a disgusting, degrading birthday card that Trump sent to Epstein, calling him a pal and stating that they share a wonderful secret, was finally brought to light. Madam Chair, I ask unanimous consent to enter Trump's birthday card to Jeffrey Epstein from the Epstein estates into the record.
Without objection.
When you see this card, it's anything but repulsive. And this is the kind of stuff they've been trying to hide. He keeps lying. He said this card didn't exist. This is a disgusting piece. We are subject to it because it's our job to make sure we bring this stuff to light. And if that's not enough, yesterday Trump basically implied that domestic violence is not a crime. Quote, if a man has a little fight with the wife, they say this was a crime, Trump said on Monday. And we know in a book the reports of him sexually forcing himself on his wife and pulling her hair out. At the same time, the Trump administration has cut more than $800 million in grants that support victims of violent crimes, including domestic violence. This is an administration that has a track record of failing to protect women from sexual assault. So yes, we need a vote on this bill to know what's happening, because as his own behavior demonstrates, women are not safe in Trump's America. I sat at a meeting with the Democratic caucus and the survivors last week, and they told us that Epstein told them, don't think you have any power or can say anything that's happening here, because I have the banks and I have government. This committee needs to say, you do not have government. Government will stand on the side of the women who were sexually abused, on the side of the children. And so, once again, we implore this committee to pass this amendment and allow a vote on the Massey Kana bill. With that, I yield back.
Thank you, Ms. Leisure Fernandez. Is there further discussion on the amendment? Mr. Norman, you recognize.
Let me say, I find it interesting the left is bringing this up when under the 4 years under the Biden administration, not a peep on anything. When Mr. McGovern had the chair of the Rules Committee, not one thing about the Epstein. This thing's been going on with Epstein for 30 years. What about the children who were maimed and raped, the 300,000 that are lost during an open Biden administration borders? What about that? What about the fentanyl deaths that were coming across the border? Now, it goes on deaf ears now to bring up these things that when y'all had the power, not only did you not bring it up, it wasn't even a mention of it to even discuss. I yield back.
Anyone else? Mr. McGovern.
Yeah, so I get the opposition saying that they're going to use whataboutism to get out of taking responsibility on this. Again, it's pretty clear. You either want to have a vote on this or you don't. And again, I would urge a yes vote, and I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. McGovern. Does anyone else wish to speak on the amendment? Hearing no further comments, the question is on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. Mr. McGovern requests a roll call. The clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach? No. Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Norman? No. Mr. Norman, no. Mr. Roy? No. Mr. Roy, no. Mrs. Houchin? Mr. Langworthy? No. Mr. Langworthy, no. Mr. Scott? No. Mr. Scott, no. Mr. Griffith? No. Mr. Griffith, no. Mr. Jack? No. Mr. Jack, no. Mr. McGovern?
Aye.
Mr. McGovern, aye. Ms. Scanlon? Ms. Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse? Mr. Neguse, aye. Ms. Leisure Fernandez? Ms. Leisure Fernandez, aye. Madam Chair?
No.
Madam Chair, no.
The clerk will report the total.
4 yeas, 8 nays.
The noes have it. The amendment is not agreed to. Are there further amendments or discussion? Ms. Scanlon, you're recognized.
Madam Chair, I have an amendment to the rule. I move that the committee make in order Amendment 141 to H.R. 3838, offered by Representative Crow, which would authorize a 2-year extension of the Afghan Special Immigrant Visa Program through December 31st, 2027. Look, this has been a bipartisan issue for years. Ever since the withdrawal from Afghanistan, Congress has failed to stand by the Afghan allies that stood by us during the war on terror there. We owe it to these allies to provide them with a safe relocation to the U.S., with a stable and valid immigration status. And under this administration, we've seen Afghans who fought alongside our troops snatched from their homes and jobs and detained without notice, with no criminal records, and in violation of the solemn promise we made to them when they stepped up to support our troops as drivers, as translators. So this amendment would authorize a 2-year extension of the Afghan SIV program so we can continue to support those who supported our troops. Just last month, I heard from constituents in my district who were supporting a mother, a woman who is married to an Afghan who supported our troops, who had just given birth to their child. And he had been picked up and put in a detention center in central Pennsylvania. The family had no idea why. When they were able to visit with him, he kept repeating to the lawyers, "But I have my papers, but I was promised that this was okay. Why have I been detained?" And no one can answer that because it should never have happened. So I urge a yes vote on this amendment, and I would yield back.
Is there further discussion on the amendment? Mr. Norman, you recognize.
Again, I find this real interesting. Where was the hope and care of the Afghans and Americans left during the evacuation? Where was that?
I'm sorry,
you
you're
saw 'em
concerned about the
hang-
care
hanging
for
to the-
Afghans?
Saw them hanging to the.
I mean, I've been working to
Wait,
help the
wait.
folks who have helped our
Wait,
troops
wait.
for a decade.
Scanlon,
You
Ms.
saw-
Scanlon,
You saw them hanging on the planes, you left them. Not only that, you left the equipment to the enemy. So again, this amendment falls on deaf ears. Yield back.
is there further discussion?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Leisure Fernandez.
thank you. I'd like to yield time to my colleague, Representative Scanlon.
Thank you. I mean, Mr. Norman seems to have a bad case of whataboutism this morning because he wants to excuse the fact that this administration is betraying our allies with some arguments about the withdrawal from Afghanistan. I think that's complete denial of the facts, which is on brand, and I think it has nothing to do with the fact that we are neglecting, we are violating the promise that we made to allies. So I yield back. I thank the woman for yielding time.
Thank you. And I think a big question, we are congressmen and women. We are sent here to make decisions today. We get to make the law. And if we didn't like something that happened in the past, we get to vote differently today. We are called upon to act today. And thank you for bringing that amendment, and I support it. And with that, I yield back.
Thank you, Ms. Leisure Fernandez. Mr. Neguse, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I didn't intend to jump into this debate. I, of course, support this amendment and am a co-sponsor of it. I just want to echo sentiments that were expressed by my colleague from New Mexico, and to Mr. Norman would say, I think that you could certainly offer arguments on the merits about this proposal and whether you support it or oppose it. I suspect you oppose it, but this sort of pithy, constant reference to any amendment that we propose, well, let me tell you about Joe Biden. I mean, it's sort of a noun, a verb, and Joe Biden over there in terms of the substance of your arguments. Just debate the proposal here. I've heard arguments. I disagree with the arguments from some of your colleagues in your side of the aisle against this effort, but they are at least cogent arguments that they're making. And so I would encourage you and others to do that. In this case, there are a lot of Republicans who are very supportive of ensuring that we live up to the promises that we made to those Afghans that risked their lives to help our troops during the war in Afghanistan. And so I don't think this is a particularly controversial proposal, but I certainly know that it merits at least a fulsome debate on the House floor that extends perhaps broader than simple references to Joe Biden from 4 years ago. So anyway, that's my view, and I'll support the amendment for that reason.
Thank you, Mr. Neguse. Mr. Roy, you're recognized.
Madam Chair, I think the core issue, question, at least for a number of folks on our side, are concerns. The Inspector General, DHS, had raised issues about vetting in a 2022 report that caused significant concerns among those of us that follow this issue in particular. There was issues even as, or recently as last fall with individuals who'd come in under the SIV program, then looked at for potential plots engaging terrorist activities. There's known vetting problems throughout our entire system. That's the core issue. This ought to be debated as part of the larger immigration debate and not associated with the NDA, and I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Roy. Is there further discussion? Mr. Norman?
Yeah, I'll just briefly say, Mr. Goose, I see your argument on the amendment. I'm just saying it's late. I mean, y'all supported a man who was obviously cognitively not there. Now, hold on. Now you're saying it's not important. You're saying it's not important for the 4 years. People
We're back to
died.
talking about Joe
People
Biden.
died.
I mean,
People left stranded, and now you're saying that you've got all of a sudden got empathy for him. It's just it falls on deaf ears. And
Would the gentleman
pretty
yield?
simple.
Would the gentleman yield for a minute?
Oh yeah.
So if I understand this, you are opposing an amendment that would give status to Afghan refugees who worked with our troops because you don't like the stranding of Afghan refugees who worked with our troops. It inherently makes no sense. You're saying because Afghans were left behind and you object to that, you want to send more back there. Just consider the internal logic there, and please vote for the amendment. I yield back.
What I'm saying, Ms. Scallon, your voice is just too late now. What you did 4 years ago is
These folks
really
are being
involved lives.
kicked out
I'll
now.
let you speak, Ms. Hamlin. We can't talk over each other, and that's what the left has a hard time understanding. But no, I'm just saying that where was your voice when people died of Afghans, innocent people? Where was your voice when the 300,000 children were coming over the border from an administration that did irreparable harm to this country? Where was your voice? It wasn't there. I yield back.
I thought you were going to yield to me.
Mr. Neguse?
I thank the chairwoman. I would just say, while I disagree with Mr. Roy's arguments, Mr. Roy did precisely what I was hoping he would do, which was made arguments on the merits. And Mr. Norman, I don't know if you noticed, but he managed to do that without mentioning Joe Biden once. I mean, it was fairly impressive in my view. Every response that you're offering here is just, again, references to Joe Biden. I don't really understand why we can't have a debate about this particular proposal. I would encourage my colleague to just consider that, because I thought Mr. Roy, again, disagreed with the arguments, but he made the case on the merits, and I think articulated the view of some of his colleagues on your side of the aisle, and he didn't have to, reference Joe Biden to do it. But I'm happy to yield to Mr. Norman, but can you promise me you're not going to reference Joe Biden in your response? I mean, or is this going to? I'll yield to you. It's a good test.
Every second, every day.
You'll notice I didn't mention him once this morning.
Well, once, but every day, you hear, if the sun doesn't come up one morning, you would blame it on President Trump.
I feel a Joe Biden
It's
reference
empty.
coming.
Would the gentleman yield?
I'm happy to yield to Mr. Roy.
It was.
We're not going to talk over each other. The chair will recognize the person who's controlling the time, and we'll be respectful to each other. We started out very respectfully. Let's not go into a disrespectful time.
No, I was just
Would
yielding to
the
Mr.
gentleman,
Roy.
Mr. Neguse?
would the gentleman?
Yeah, do I not control the time and yielding to Mr. Roy?
Okay.
So the gentleman's yielding. So I was just going to say that it was the Inspector General under the Biden administration in 2002. I yield back.
Thank you.
I thank the
Mr.
gentleman for the
Neguse?
clarification.
Mr. Neguse, you're recognized.
I thank the gentleman for the clarification. I yield back to the chairwoman.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, the question's on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. Ms. Scanlon requests a recorded vote.
Yes, I do.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach? No. Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Norman? No. Mr. Norman, no. Mr. Roy? No. Mr. Roy, no. Mrs. Houchin? No. Mrs. Houchin, no. Mr. Langworthy? No. Mr. Langworthy, no. Mr. Scott? No. Mr. Scott, no. Mr. Griffith? Mr. Griffith, no. Mr. Jack? No. Mr. Jack, no. Mr. McGovern? Aye. Mr. McGovern, aye. Ms. Scanlon?
Aye.
Ms. Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse? Aye. Mr. Neguse, aye. Ms. Leisure Fernandez? Aye. Ms. Leisure Fernandez, aye. Madam Chair?
No.
Madam Chair, no.
Clerk will report the total.
4 yeas, 9 nays.
The noes have it. The amendment's not agreed to. Ms. Scanlon, you're recognized.
Thank you. I have an amendment to the rule. I move the committee make in order amendment number 611 to H.R. 3838, offered by Representative Sherrill, which would require the consent of the Chief Executive Officer of a state or DC for the deployment of the National Guard to their state or district under Title 32. Now, this is under the title that authorizes them to be used in part for state purposes such as law enforcement. I think it's really important, as we've seen the ongoing abuse of the National Guard function with deployments to American cities. It's a terrible use of the National Guard and taxpayer dollars. These deployments support the sickest kind of politics, using military power to intimidate citizens and the residents in some of our biggest cities. We have to put a stop to these deployments. This amendment would require the consent of a state's governor for the National Guard to be deployed to that state under Title 32, which is different than Title 10. So I ask that everyone support this amendment and consider how it would be if these kinds of deployments were to take place in your state. I yield back.
Thank you, Ms. Scanlon. Is there any further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, the question's on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. The amendment is not agreed to.
Request.
Ms. Scanlon, request a roll call. The clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach? Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Norman? Mr. Norman, no. Mr. Roy? Mr. Roy, no. Mrs. Houchin? Mrs. Houchin, no. Mr. Langworthy? Mr. Langworthy, no. Mr. Scott? Mr. Scott, no. Mr. Griffith? Mr. Griffith, no. Mr. Jack? Mr. Jack, no. Mr. McGovern? Mr. McGovern, aye. Ms. Scanlon?
Aye.
Ms. Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse? Mr. Neguse, aye. Ms. Leisure Fernandez? Ms. Leisure Fernandez, aye. Madam Chair?
No.
Madam Chair, no.
The clerk will report the total.
4 yeas, 9 nays.
The noes have it. The amendment is not agreed to. Are there further amendments? Ms. Scanlon?
Yes, Madam Chair. I have an amendment to the rule. I move the committee make in order amendment number 1001 to H.R. 3838, offered by Representative Kazar, which would prohibit funding to the Trump boondoggle known as the Golden Dome until, first, the Pentagon passes an audit, and second, the GAO certify that contracts for the development of the Golden Dome are not being awarded in a corrupt manner, with politically connected firms receiving undue favor. If you haven't heard about the Golden Dome, you might remember President Reagan's Star Wars program, which involved decades of fraud and abuse. It cost nearly 2 times the Manhattan Project without producing any usable results. Republicans have already appropriated billions of dollars for this Golden Dome project, despite very serious concerns about the program's feasibility and total cost. If Republicans actually care about fraud, waste, and abuse, the Golden Dome should raise immediate red flags. We cannot authorize or appropriate more funds for this program until the Department of Defense can demonstrate that its goals for the program are realistic and that costs can be contained. This amendment would prohibit funding for the Golden Dome until the DoD can pass an audit and until the GAO can certify that Golden Dome contracts will be awarded fairly and not given to companies with political connections to the president. I urge a yes vote on this amendment, and I yield back.
Thank you, Ms. Scanlon.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Scott?
this amendment of all amendments is proof of Trump derangement syndrome that has just consumed the Democratic Party. The weapons that are a threat to the United States today are a fraction of the size of the weapons that our defensive systems were set for. Radars built for World War-era weapons, to pick them up, will not defend the United States from weapons that are exponentially more powerful, exponentially faster, and exponentially smaller than what we built our systems for. We have to have a system that will defend us from the new weapons that the Russians and the Chinese have. The Russians are using the weapons in Ukraine right now. So this is a horrible amendment that puts the United States at risk. The current systems that we have will not defend the country from the weapons that our enemies have today. This amendment needs to go down.
Would the gentleman yield?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. I think you've actually hit the issue right on the head there. The weapons that are available today are much different from those that this president is seeking to put a dome over. It doesn't actually factually meet
No,
what the
you're not correct on
possibilities
that.
are out there. You can't
You're
put a
not correct on
dome
that.
over the U.S. when people can smuggle a suitcase in. So I think that is what this amendment is asking, to make sure before billions are spent on it, that there is actually a feasible way forward for this program,
No.
and that the contracts issued under it aren't going to go to Mr. Musk and other sycophants.
Reclaiming my time. The weapons that we're trying to defend America from today are exponentially faster, exponentially more powerful, and a fraction of the size of the weapons that our systems were built to defend us from. With that, I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Is there any further discussion?
Madam Chair, just one.
Mr.
Yeah.
McGovern?
Yeah, I wish my Republican friends would have a tenth of the passion they have when they argue for spending billions and billions of dollars for more weapon systems. I wish they would have a tenth of that passion when it comes to addressing issues that are also essential to national security, like hunger in this country, like the fact that we have so many people who are struggling to find shelter in a house, or health care, the devastating health care in this big, ugly bill that they passed. I mean, national security is about more than the bombs and weapons we have. It includes the quality of life for our people here. And people in this country right now are suffering, and we're not doing a damn thing to address it. So I support the gentlelady's amendment, and I yield back.
Thank you very much. Is there further discussion on the amendment from the gentlewoman from Pennsylvania? Hearing none, the question is on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. Ms. Scanlon requests a recorded vote. The clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach? No. Mrs. Fishbach? No. Mr. Norman? No. Mr. Norman, no. Mr. Roy? No. Mr. Roy, no. Mrs. Houchin? Mrs. Houchin, no. Mr. Langworthy? Mr. Langworthy, no. Mr. Scott? No. Mr. Scott, no. Mr. Griffith? No. Mr. Griffith, no. Mr. Jack? Mr. Jack, no. Mr. McGovern? Aye. Mr. McGovern, aye. Ms. Scanlon?
Aye.
Ms. Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse? Aye. Mr. Neguse, aye. Ms. Ledger-Fernandez? Aye. Ms. Ledger-Fernandez, aye. Madam Chair?
No.
Madam Chair, no.
The clerk will report the total.
4 yeas, 9 nays.
And the noes have it. The amendment's not agreed to. Mr. Neguse, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee make an order amendment number 220 to H.R. 3838, offered by myself, which would facilitate the transfer and demilitarization of certain aircraft to the state of Colorado for wildfire suppression purposes.
Is there further discussion on the amendment?
Amendment, Madam Chair, is very simple, bipartisan, not particularly controversial. This aircraft, we believe, was already scheduled to be demilitarized and would be incredibly helpful for wildfire suppression purposes in Colorado and across the Rocky Mountain West, in states like Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, and elsewhere, New Mexico, of course, and think the debate deserves open discussion on the floor. So I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Neguse. Is there further discussion? Ms. Scanlon?
Yes, I wholeheartedly support this amendment. It does involve the Chinook helicopter, which is produced in my district and is proven to be remarkably effective at fighting wildfires. So I would like to see this amendment made into the bill.
Further discussion? Hearing none, the question's on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment from Mr. Neguse signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. The no.
Ask for a recorded vote.
Mr. Neguse requests a roll call. The clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach? No. Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Norman? Mr. Norman, no. Mr. Roy? Mr. Roy, no. Mrs. Houchin? Mrs. Houchin, no. Mr. Langworthy? Mr. Langworthy, no. Mr. Scott? Mr. Scott, no. Mr. Griffith? Mr. Griffith, no. Mr. Jack? Mr. Jack, no. Mr. McGovern? Mr. McGovern, aye. Ms. Scanlon? Ms. Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse?
Aye.
Mr. Neguse, aye. Ms. Ledger Fernandez? Ms. Ledger Fernandez, aye. Madam Chair?
No.
Madam Chair, no.
The clerk will report the total.
4 yeas, 9 nays.
Noes have it. The amendment's not agreed to. Is there further amendment or discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have an amendment to the rule. I move the committee make an order amendment number 1145 to H.R. 3838, offered by myself, which would raise the annual pay cap that limits total compensation for federal wildland firefighters, including overtime and premium pay.
Is there further discussion on the amendment from Mr. Neguse?
Madam Chair, I would just offer, in the past, the NDAA has been one of the few vehicles that we have been able to leverage to pursue changes to the federal wildland firefighter compensation pay structure. We've made some progress in the last several years, but our federal wildland firefighters are still woefully underpaid. These are folks who are risking life and limb every day fighting wildfires, as I said, in Colorado and across the Rocky Mountain West. They deserve to be fairly compensated, and I would hope that my colleagues might consider, as we've done in the past and as this committee has done in the past, debating various different changes to the payment structure for our federal wildland firefighters, and in this instance, raising the annual pay cap, which I think is an important step for us to take. So with that, I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Neguse. Further discussion on the amendment?
Madam Chair, I'd also like to speak in favor of this amendment and speak in favor of using the NDAA to address this issue, because these are federal wildland firefighters, and they are really key in many areas where our military operates. I mean, that's where they're at, right? And I didn't quite understand that until I first got to Congress, and they came in and met with me and explained where they're at. You know, they came because they're at Cannon Air Force Base. They're more down in Kirtland because of the forests that surround the base. And Congress really does hold the key to make sure that these men and women are both paid well, and I know you have led effort to make sure that their health and safety are taken care of. I mean, these are really people who put their lives on the line. They put their lungs on the line for us, and I think removing the the cap would be a responsible and honorable thing for us to do on their behalf. And thank you, Ms. Neguse, for bringing it.
Further discussion on the amendment from Mr. Neguse? Hearing none, the question's on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. The amendment's not agreed to. Mr. Neguse requests a roll call vote. The clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach? No. Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Norman? No. Mr. Norman, no. Mr. Roy? No. Mr. Roy, no. Mrs. Houchin? No. Mrs. Houchin, no. Mr. Langworthy? No. Mr. Langworthy, no. Mr. Scott? No. Mr. Scott, no. Mr. Griffith? No. Mr. Griffith, no. Mr. Jack? Mr. Jack, no. Mr. McGovern? Mr. McGovern, aye. Ms. Scanlon? Ms. Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse? Mr. Neguse, aye. Ms. Ledger Fernandez? Aye. Ms. Ledger Fernandez, aye. Madam Chair?
No.
Madam Chair, no.
The clerk will report the total.
4 yeas, 9 nays.
The noes have it. The amendment is not agreed to. The further discussion or amendment? Ms. Ledger Fernandez, you recognize.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I have an amendment to the rule. I move the committee make an order amendment number 936 offered by Representative Kennedy to H.R. 3838, which would prohibit the implementation of the VA's proposed rule to reinstate a near total ban on abortion and counseling for veterans and their families. The NDAA in general, I must say, as it came before the committee, had many good things in it and was bipartisan. Earlier, Chairman Rogers said that, in part, this bill continues to be bipartisan out of the Armed Services Committee because of the focus on our service members and the attempt to keep basically poison pills out of it. Unfortunately, the Trump administration continues to use veterans and service members for their culture wars. I would point out that Trump wants to rename the Department of Defense the Department of War. And sadly, we are seeing a war. We are seeing a war on women. We are seeing a war on education, on women's freedom, and on too many other things. The proposed VA rule continues with the cultural war on or service women. If implemented, it will eliminate essential health care for veterans and beneficiaries of the civilian health and medical program of the Department of Veterans Affairs. For the past 3 years, these patients have been able to obtain comprehensive pregnancy counseling, including information about abortion services and abortion care in cases of rape, incest, or life or health endangerment. I need to tell you guys, pregnancy can be dangerous, and people need access to abortion care when things go wrong. This rule put forward by the Trump administration caters to Republican culture wars instead of providing women veterans with quality and life-saving health care. Remember, there are 462,000 women veterans of reproductive age enrolled in VA care. And we've seen the consequences of similar bans across the country as women have waited to get the abortion care they need, sometimes suffering fatal consequences. Women can die if they don't get the care they need. So I am a proud co-sponsor of this amendment from Representative Kennedy, and I urge its adoption.
Thank you, Ms. Ledger-Fernandez. Is there further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none. The question's on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. The amendment is not agreed to. Ms. Ledger-Fernandez requests a roll call. The clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach? No. Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Norman? No. Mr. Norman, no. Mr. Roy? No. Mr. Roy, no. Mrs. Houchin? Mrs. Houchin, no. Mr. Langworthy? No. Mr. Langworthy, no. Mr. Scott? No. Mr. Scott, no. Mr. Griffith? Mr. Griffith, no. Mr. Jack? Mr. Jack, no. Mr. McGovern? Mr. McGovern, aye. Ms. Scanlon? Ms. Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse? Aye. Mr. Neguse, aye. Ms. Ledger-Fernandez?
Aye.
Ms. Ledger-Fernandez, aye. Madam Chair?
No.
Madam Chair, no.
The clerk will report the total.
4 yeas, 9 nays.
The noes have it. The amendment is not agreed to. Is there any further discussion?
Madam Chair.
Ms. Ledger-Fernandez, you're recognized.
Madam Chair, I have an amendment to the rule. I move the committee make an order amendment number 22A offered by Representative Vasquez to H.R. 3838, which increases the GI Bill's annual book school supply stipend from $1,000 per year to $1,400. We should not simply thank our veterans for their service. We need to provide them with the care and resources they've earned. This includes providing them with the support they need as they transition back into civilian life and pursue higher education. The post-9/11 GI Bill helps veterans access financial assistance, but it hasn't been updated since 2008. Now, everybody on this committee knows that prices have gone up since 2008, and we need to adjust the stipend provided for books and supplies from the $1,000 it was in 2008 to now, which is about $1,400. So this is a bipartisan amendment. It is intended to bring to par what veterans are actually having to pay so that they can actually access that higher education that we have promised them. And with that, I urge support for this bipartisan amendment and yield back.
Is there any further discussion on the amendment from Ms. Ledger-Fernandez? Hearing none, the question's on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. Ms. Ledger-Fernandez requests a recorded vote. The clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach? No. Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Norman? No. Mr. Norman, no. Mr. Roy? No. Mr. Roy, no. Mrs. Houchin? Mrs. Houchin, no. Mr. Langworthy? Mr. Langworthy, no. Mr. Scott? No. Mr. Scott, no. Mr. Griffith? Mr. Griffith, no. Mr. Jack? Mr. Jack, no. Mr. McGovern? Mr. McGovern, aye. Ms. Scanlon? Ms. Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse. Mr. Neguse, aye. Ms. Leisure Fernandez.
Aye.
Ms. Leisure Fernandez, aye. Madam Chair.
No.
Madam Chair, no.
The clerk will report the total.
4 yeas, 9 nays.
The noes have it. The amendment is not agreed to. Is there further discussion, or are there amendments? Ms. Leisure Fernandez, you're recognized.
Madam Chair, I have an amendment to the rule. I move the committee make an order amendment number 631 offered by Representative Sherrill to H.R. 3838, which would repeal restrictions on the use of funds and facilities for abortion care through the Department of Defense. Our service women are willing to fight for our freedom. In return, we must provide them with reproductive freedom to be able to access the health care they need and want. They should have the ability to get this health care wherever they live and when they need it. This amendment, which I'm proud to co-sponsor, would make sure that servicewomen get the health care they need through the benefits they have earned and deserve. And with that, I urge my colleagues to support this amendment, and I yield back.
Gentlewoman yields back. Is there any further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, the question's on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it.
Madam Chair, recorded vote.
The gentlewoman requests a recorded vote. The clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach. Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Norman. Mr. Norman, no. Mr. Roy. Mr. Roy, no. Mrs. Houchin. Mrs. Houchin, no. Mr. Langworthy. Mr. Langworthy, no. Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott, no. Mr. Griffith. Mr. Griffith, no. Mr. Jack. Mr. Jack, no. Mr. McGovern. Mr. McGovern, aye. Ms. Scanlon. Ms. Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse. Mr. Neguse, aye. Ms. Leisure Fernandez.
Yes.
Ms. Leisure Fernandez, aye. Madam Chair.
No.
Madam Chair, no.
The clerk will report the total.
4 yeas, 9 nays.
The noes have it. The amendment is not agreed to. Further discussion or amendment? Hearing no further discussion, the question is on the motion from the gentleman from Georgia. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no.
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 In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The motion is agreed to.
Yes, for a roll call.
Mr. McGovern requests a roll call. The clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach. Mrs. Fishbach, aye. Mr. Norman. Mr. Norman, aye. Mr. Roy. Mr. Roy, aye. Mrs. Houchin. Mrs. Houchin, aye. Mr. Langworthy. Mr. Langworthy, aye. Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott, aye. Mr. Griffith. Mr. Griffith, aye. Mr. Jack.
Aye.
Mr. Jack, aye. Mr. McGovern.
No.
Mr. McGovern, no. Ms. Scanlon. Ms. Scanlon, no. Mr. Neguse. Mr. Neguse, no. Ms. Leisure Fernandez.
No.
Ms. Leisure Fernandez, no. Madam Chair.
Aye.
Madam Chair, aye.
The clerk will report the total.
9 yeas, 4 nays.
And the ayes have it. The motion to report is agreed to. Accordingly, the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Scott, will be managing this rule for the majority.
And Ms. Scanlon for the Democrats.
Ms. Scanlon will be representing the Democrats. Without objection, the committee is adjourned.